At 73, George Strait finally talks about Willie Nelson. George Strait was born George Harvey Strait Sr. on May 18, 1952, in a place called Patit, Texas, and grew up in the small town Ophir. Strait's simple beginnings helped make him real and honest, which would later make his music career special. Growing up on his family's Sco ranch, he learned to work hard and loved the country lifestyle. Both of these things made his music feel real and honest, which millions of people loved. He first got interested in music when he was a teenager and began playing in a garage band. But he really fell in love with country music echoes of the old-time sounds of singers like Merle Haggard, George Jones, and Hank Williams. After finishing high school, Strait joined the United States Army in 1971, and they sent him to Hawaii. While he was a soldier, Hester did singing with an army band called Rambling Country, which let him sing in front of real audiences for the first time. It was also while he was in the Army that he met Norma, his girlfriend from high school. The couple got married in 1971, and their strong marriage would become the most important part of his life. Giving him a strong basis, he chased his dreams. After leaving the Army in 1975, Strait went to Southwest Texas State University, now called Texas State University, and got a degree in farming while still making music on the side. He became the main singer of the Ace in the Hole band, which played at localbars and slowly built up a group of fans who loved them. Strait's big break came in 1981 with his first song called No Wound, which quickly became popular and let everyone know he was now part of the country music world. Unlike many singers at that time who mixed pop music with country, Strait kept playing old-style honky-tonk sound, using fiddles, steel guitars, and simple but strong words. This promise to stay real connected with people who missed the classic country sound, and it made him a leader in the movement to bring back traditional country music in the 1980s. Over the years, he would make a hit song after hit song, including songs people still love like Amarillo by Morning, All My Exes Live in Texas, Oceanfront Property, and Check, Yes or No. During his whole career, George Strait has been more successful than almost any musician in any type of music, with more than 60 #1 hits on the Billboard country charts. He has the record for the most top songs by any singer, beating even famous names like Elvis Presley and the Beatles in total success on the charts. His albums have sold over 100 million copies around the world, making him one of the top-selling singers of all time. He has also won tons of awards, including Music Association, CAM Awards, Academy of Country Music, ACM Awards, and a Grammy Award, when he was put into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2006. It proved even more that he was one of the biggest names in country music. But more than just numbers, George Strait is loved for being steady, humble, and kind. Unlike many famous people who follow whatever is popular, Strait never went too far from his roots, and his fans paid him back with many years of being loyal. He almost never gave interviews or tried to get attention, choosing instead to let his music speak for itself. On stage, his calm way of acting, usually wearing jeans, a cowboy hat, and boots, showed he was real and quietly confident, making audiences love him even more. His goodbye tour in 2013, called the Cowboy Rides Away Tour, broke records for how many people came across that country, ending with a historic final show at a TNT Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where more than 100,000 fans came together to say goodbye. Strait's life has also been marked by staying strong through hard times. He and Norma went through terrible sadness with the loss of their daughter, Jennifer, in a car crash in 1986 because he wanted to keep their private life private. Strait decided to stop giving interviews after that terrible thing happened, but he kept putting his feelings into his music. To remember his daughter, he and his family later started the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, which helps children's charities in San Antonio, Texas. This act of caring showed another side of who he was, his quiet giving, nature, and wanting to help others. Even though he's mostly retired, George Strait is still a powerful person in country music. He keeps making records sometimes, puts on shows once in a while, and helps inspire new groups of country singers. Many after-day stars, from G. Brooks and C. Alan Jackson to Chris Stapleton and Luke Bryan, say he was a big influence, not only for his music, but also for his example of how to handle being famous with honesty and respect. George Strait's personal life has always shown the same kind of loyalty and strong family values that are in his music. In December 1971, he made a life-changing decision that showed how strong his love was for the woman who had won his heart. Strait ran away to Mexico to get married with his high school sweetheart, Norma, a choice that showed both the engagement and the lasting love that would be the foundation of his life for many years to come. The couple had known each other since they were teenagers in Pearl, Texas, and their love had made it through the uncertain times of being young and Strait's early music dreams. By getting married in a private and personal way, Strait showed that even though he had big dreams in music, the most important thing in his life would always be family. This great wedding became a cornerstone in his personal story, marking the beginning of a marriage that would last through good times, sad times, and the stress of being famous. Just a year later, in 1972, George and Norma had their first child, a daughter named Jennifer, who was born on October 6th. Becoming a father when he was young, while he was still figuring out how to be a musician and serving in the U.S. Army, gave Strait a feeling of responsibility and purpose that will shape the rest of his life. Jennifer brought huge joy into the house, and she became a treasured part of George and Norma's journey together as they raised their family in Texas. Almost 10 years later, in 1981, the couple had another baby with the birth of their son, George Harvey Strait Jr., who everyone called Bubba. By then, Strait was starting to find steady success in country music. But no matter how busy his schedule became, he stayed deeply committed to his job as a husband and father. Bubba's birth completed the family and created a balance in Strait's life between the fame of country stardom and the comfort of home life. But then, something terrible happened to the Strait family. In the summer of 1986, when their loved daughter Jennifer was killed in a terrible car accident in San Marcos, Texas, on June 25th. She was only 13 years old. Losing Jennifer was a crushing blow that changed the family's lives forever. George and Norma went through the unthinkable pain of losing a child, and the sadness left a lasting mark on Strait's heart. Though he was known for keeping his personal feelings private, people close to him saw the deep sadness he carried. The terrible thing that happened also changed his view on life and made the feeling of realness in his music even stronger. As fans often felt the honesty and heartbreak behind many of his songs, instead of letting their sadness take over their lives. The Strait family chose to remember Jennifer's life in a meaningful way. After she died, George and Norma started the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, a charity organization that helps children's causes throughout the San Antonio area. The foundation became a living way to remember Jennifer's short but meaningful life. Through donations and community help, it gave money to her children's charities, hospitals, and youth programs, making sure that Jennifer's memory was one of hope, caring, and giving. For George and Norma, the foundation gave both a way to heal and a way to turn their personal tragedy into something positive that could help countless families. The foundation is still working today, showing the Strait family's deep promise to give back to the community that had supported them for so many years. Their son, George Harvey Strait Jr., or Bubba, grew up to follow a path that showed both the toughness of Texas tradition and the competitive spirit he got from his father. Bubba became deeply involved in the roto world, specifically as a team roping competitor with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, PRCA. His passion for roping showed the same discipline, never giving up, and toughness that had made George's music career great, though Bubba did it in the arena rather than on stage. He also went to higher education, graduating from Texas A&M University, a respected school that showed even more the Strait family's values of hard work and dedication. One of the most memorable moments of Bubba's rodeo career came in 2006, when George got the chance to sit in Theston's and watch his son compete at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, one of the largest and most important rodeo events in the nation. For Strait, it was a rare chance to step away from the spotlight of his own legendary music career and simply feel proud of his son's achievements. Shortly after cheering Bubba on in the arena, George himself walked onto the stage at the same event to perform before thousands of fans, smoothly blending his role as a proud father with his life as a country music icon. The moment captured the special bond between father and son, bringing together two different Texas traditions, rodeo and country music, into one unforgettable experience. For many years, fans of country music have loved George Strait for his quiet, shy personality. Unlike many singers who often share their opinions in public, Strait has always been known as a man who doesn't say much, letting his music and steady career speak for him. But at 73 years old, the king of country finally decided it was time to open up about one of the music world's most legendary people, Willie Nelson. Strait's voice carried the feeling of wisdom, humility, and respect as he shared his long-awaited thoughts on a man who not only helped shape country music, but also became a cultural icon. Willie has always been one of those singers who didn't just sing songs, he lived them. Strait began, his words carefully picked. There's an honesty in his music that you can't fake. You hear him sing, and you believe every word because you know he's lived that life. In this statement, Strait wasn't just deciding about Nelson's list of hits. He was highlighting the real honesty that has made Willie Nelson loved across many generations of people. While many singers want polished perfection, Nelson's charm has always come from his honesty and storytelling, something Strait deep loves. Strait continued, he never tried to fit into what others expected. Nashville had its own way of doing things, and Willie went his own way. That takes courage, and I respect him for it. With this comment, Strait agreed with the truth that country music. Historians often repeat, Willie Nelson was never one to bow down to what the music business expected. From leaving Nashville in the early 1970s to help start the Itala country movement in Texas, to his unusual voice and singing style, then against traditional rules, Nelson carved out a career by following his heart. Strait, who himself built a reputation staying true to traditional country sounds, clearly saw Nelson, someone like him, in fighting against unnecessary change and fighting for authenticity. Strait also spoke warmly about Nelson's role as a teacher and friend within the country music family. Willie's always been there for other singers. Strait said, if you were new in town or just needed a little encouragement, he'd take the time. That says a lot about his character, coming from Strait Isinger, who himself has been loved for his humility. These words were particularly meaningful. They showed that behind Nelson's fame, there has always been giving, caring, and a willingness to give back. Of course, Strait couldn't speak of Nelson without mentioning his influence on American culture. When people think about Texas, they think about Willie Strait said. He's as much a part of the state as the land itself. He carries Texas with him wherever he goes. As two proud Texans who shaped the sound of modern country music, Strait's recognition of Nelson as a living symbol of their shared home state was especially hurt. For Strait, Nelson wasn't just a singer. He was everything that Texas pride, independence, and strength meant. Finally, Strait ended his words with a touch of personnel respect. I've had the honor of Sharinga stage with Willie, and every time Ito. I'm reminded that I'm standing next to greatness. He's one of a kind, and we're lucky to have him. In that statement, Strait captured not only his admiration, but also the thankfulness felt by millions of fans who continue to treasure Nelson's music. At 73, George Strait's words about Willie Nelson weren't just casual compliments. They were a heartfelt recognition from one legend to another. Strait, a man who rarely gives public praise, made it clear that in his eyes, Willie Nelson is not only an icon of country music, but also a symbol of artistic honesty, giving, and the unshakable spirit of Texas.